Welcome back again. You're still watching us here on The Daily Debate. Once again, I'd like to welcome our guest this evening, Dr. Yasser Mahgoub, Professor of Architecture at Al Galala University. Dr. Yasser, as we've seen in the report and as we've seen occasionally, not occasionally, actually on several occasions, I would like to say, that the President's always stressing on the importance of and the keenness of the government to upgrade the services for the citizens in order for them to have a better life, a decent life, and an easier future. The Together initiative, Together to Build the Future initiative, what does it indicate and why is it important in this regard?
It's important to make the citizens feel ownership of all the efforts and projects that are being done. It's not done by the government for them, it's done by everyone for everyone. So this togetherness is extremely important initiative for all projects that are going on in Egypt. And the infrastructure is the first stage in changing the future and creating a better future. Infrastructure, roads, transportation, and this is the basic for building, for construction, for jobs, for factories, for entertainment, for everything. Without transportation, good roads, good connectivity between parts of the country, we cannot build a more resilient future. The future is not only buildings and roads. The future is human beings, is environment, natural environment, and is built environment at the same time. So by having this basic element, we are ready to start to build the future. And the future is not going to be done by someone for another. It's done by everyone. So when we provide these basic services, these basic needs that cannot be done by private sectors or by individuals, only the government can do these kinds of efforts, then the next stage is to start to build jobs and factories and universities and housing by private sectors.
Now, a couple of years ago, when, and especially specifically when Egypt went for the IMF fund, a lot of people were very skeptical on what is this going to benefit Egypt. But then we see today, and maybe it was also very obvious during the couple of days of holidays that took place last for Eid, and you just easily and smoothly going back and forth throughout different governorates with these new axes, these new roads and the extensions. We're seeing better infrastructure, and that really did make a difference. Now we're seeing every single day something new happening. I mean, I always would say that the GPS itself is finding it very hard to adjust to the new directions and destinations. That, from an economic perspective, made it much more easier for the transportation of goods and a better quality of services. As a citizen, do you feel that being reflected directly to you as an Egyptian citizen?
Definitely the roads that we are talking about now are not roads. These are corridors. We don't see them as connecting one point and another. They are opportunities for development along the sides of these corridors of development. And this is how economy flourish, by providing connectivity. If you produce goods, you need to transport it to another place. All civilizations started on roads. The ancient Egyptians, the Romans, all civilizations, the Chinese Silk Road, all civilizations were based on good connectivity, transportation, commerce with other places, and so we cannot produce goods without selling them to other people.
Of course.
And the way we look at roads now and streets is as corridors of development, opportunities. And as you as you see in the Cairo-Alexandria road, when it started, it was a desert road, but now it's all development
Yes.
along the border.
What do you, the fact is that well, the previous forever years, the government had very short vision towards how long or how much of capacity would a road or a destination or axis holds. But we're seeing a government with a better vision today. It's not just looking for now or a couple of years, it's looking for at least 20 years ahead.
Exactly.
Do these axes and these roads, they be holding the capacity of the population and the increase in the population for the next 20 years, especially as we're seeing new cities expansion now, and they're also going smart. So do you see that long vision being relocated on real ground?
Yes, I think we have accomplished the requirements for the 2030 vision that was already in place, and now we are looking at the 2050 vision. And I think the infrastructure that is being completed now is the first step towards achieving the new vision of the 2050 for Egypt. Now I think we need to go to the next stage together to build the industries that are required, the agriculture, the job opportunities. When we're talking about Galala University, universities are one of the most successful investment opportunities in new cities because it has students, faculty members, staff and employees, and it's a center of
yes, and I believe you told me
attention.
off-air it had like at least 16 different schools. We're talking about dorms.
Yes,
so
yes, we
you
have
are
a
soon to
complete-
run at full capacity again.
Yes.
And we've got this kind of example. I would like to correct myself. It's a national university,
Yes.
and maybe here you can also have this opportunity to explain, because Alamein is very similar
we
as
have
well. The one
Alamein.
in Sinai, I can think it's King
Alamein,
Salman, is it?
Salman,
Yeah.
and Mansoura.
Yeah,
and
so what
others
we're
are
trying to say
coming.
is that the importance of having these established national universities, expanding them out to cities that are not usually overpopulated or even populated at all, but the whole aim is to create communities in this
Yes.
area. Why is it important as part of the infrastructure of Egypt?
Because universities are not only places for education, they are places for knowledge and service. Our university is providing a medical service for the community and around it. We have a complete hospital for medicine, pharmacy, nursing.
You said the first school of science is actually
yes,
relocated
we have
there.
a first private school of science. And we have engineering, architecture, media, arts, social sciences. We have a full built and furnished campus. It's also part of the Galala city, which is on the 700-meter plateau of Galala mountain. With a beautiful Galala Corniche mountain that's overlooking the Red Sea. So universities in Alamein, in Sinai, will create attractive places for students, for faculty, for visitors. It will provide services. It will generate research, and it will generate also.
So it could soon, in a couple of years, be an actual community and a governorate that is. Now, the thing is that when we're talking about whether these mega projects of national universities or even the roads and the axes, we're talking about enormous amount of money that's being allocated for them. I mean, for example, we have the projects that's implemented in Alexandria as part of the Together to Build a Future initiative. That new corridor totally costs, and that's in the Mediterranean city alone, exceeding 150 billion Egyptian pounds. And that's just one axis or one corridor. You look at the number of axes and corridors that are being implemented, we're talking about trillions of Egyptian pounds.
Yes.
How are these money, I'm not going to say how are they being allocated, but the question is, how is it going to be benefiting the Egyptian economy when you're pouring so much money on it?
Yeah, this corridor that's being completed now and is being opened by the president, this is just a small part of a longer corridor, North Coast Road that connects Port Said all the way until Saloum. And this is...
Which is like what? How many kilometers? That's
this
quite
is-
big.
Yes, this is almost 600 kilometers. And it is connecting all the north coast of Egypt, all the ports along the coast, and in inner cities that produce goods and agriculture and materials to be exported. So actually, it's a corridor that goes all the way along the north coast and connects with the delta and
Which obviously
cities
connects to
of Egypt.
other countries that are on the borders as well, and that again helps expand the economic perspective.
Yes, so we are not looking at it as a small street or small road. No, it is part of a larger scope of or strategic development that also works as a defense for the Egyptian country from the north side. So it's, I think it's, we have to look at these projects, not individually, but we have to...
At the bigger picture.
To have a bigger picture.
What's that going to benefit?
How the pieces are connecting to...
Which they are, by the way.
generate, yeah.
Ironically, they are in a very nice, well-constructed way as well.
Yes, and as we say, yeah, when you put pieces together, they don't equal the number of the pieces. They have a larger picture. So we have to consider all these parts of the puzzle as part of a larger picture that's being developed now.
Yeah, yes. Now, the thing is, I mean, you're a professor of architecture, and I would like to also know your opinion on the fact that we have new smart cities, we have, whether it's the new Alamein or even the new capital. How do you evaluate the architecture process that's being taken there? Because I believe it's a piece of art, very high standard, very different than the ordinary. Tell us more about your perspective as an expert in this field.
Yeah, this we call the fourth generation cities. These are smart cities that are based on connectivity, on transportation, on high quality of life, which the Egyptians deserve to have for a long time ago, and they didn't have this opportunity to have a good quality of life. And also the designs are all aiming towards sustainability. How to create environments that can conserve energy, that can create good benefit for the expenses, and also create positive experiences for people. So as I said in the beginning, we always look at three things: the built environment, the human environment, and the natural environment. If we succeed in creating an opportunity for people to live in a coherent environment that provides high quality of life, I think this is the future that we all deserve to have. So that's why we should not wait to have this future. We need to participate in it and make it together.
Now, as you've correctly said, the fact that going towards the sustainable development projects or agenda, which is the 2030 basically. But the fact is that if you're going to go for environmental friendly projects, you do understand, I mean, you're a professor, you would know that the research part of the university, there's a lot of very creative, innovative ideas from students coming on how you can make projects that would save energy, that would regenerate water, that would be useful for agriculture. But the thing is that, and that's always the main constraint, is the cost. The cost of these projects are quite very high. If you're looking for profit, it does not get you back a profit before years of for it to continue for years. Is that going to be something that the government is going to have to take into perspective, that you want to look for the long term, as you've said, 2050, even beyond the 2030, that actually go for these very expensive projects, knowing that they're going to be environmental friendly, they will not bring you positive profit instantly, but on the longer term. So there's a struggle between whether I go environmentally friendly or go commercial. How is that being balanced out?
We always face this dilemma of how to convince clients to build more expensive than the traditional way. But what we prove through the life cycle cost analysis that we provide for the clients is that you have a payback within 6 or 7 years that will cover the cost of what you have spent and start to have the
profits
profits
being,
after that.
returned.
And actually, it's not a very long period of time, 5 or 6 years. And also the prices of energy is increasing every year. Electricity, gas, everything. So I think the wise decision, as they say, is to pay today and save tomorrow, instead of
paying
less,
today and paying
less
tomorrow and
today
pay more
and
after tomorrow. Yeah.
So I think it's a settled deal. Many studies of value engineering and life cycle cost analysis, they deal with these things and look at systems, materials, designs. The thing that we need to bring back to our designs, which is currently missing, is to look at the traditional and vernacular solutions that were already there before. And they provided money saving and environment saving for many years ago. We need to look back at the sun orientation, the wind orientation, the how to protect buildings from the sun exposure, how to provide designs that allow for air circulation instead of boxes of closed aluminum windows. We need to look back again at the materials, the protection from the change, weather changes.
But the thing is that, pardon me for interrupting you there, because that's again pouring into extra costs. But the thing is that when you start as a country to make your own production of these raw materials that are going to be needed, that's going to be much less cost effective. How is this again being looked at by the government and the leadership of how you can manage to do that without needing to go for buying these raw materials that are going to be used to sort of protect your architecture?
No, we don't need to import these materials from abroad. We have many building materials factories, especially in Galala. We have the largest marble, Galala marble,
yes,
the famous
I know
Galala
that.
marble.
Been there a couple of times. It is.
And
I believe they even export all the way to China.
Of course, yes. It's a well-known international brand, yeah. And this is also part of the environmental architecture concept that we are teaching to our students, is design with the environment, again, together. That's why the initiative of togetherness is extremely important. So we use materials from the environment around us. We use design solutions from the history that we have. We use solutions and natural solutions that we all know, but with the modern movement and the technology of quick construction.
Of course. Speaking of technology, quickness, and communication, we're talking about interconnecting various points of Egypt together. We have all the way from Sinai to the Mediterranean. But now we're seeing projects of the fast train and even roads and axes that are going to actually make it look like it's a small village.
Yes.
A lot of people, again, are finding it very difficult to digest on the huge amount of cost it's going to cost to actually do that. But then return again looking on a greater vision ahead, a couple of years when these different areas are going to create communities on their own and have population. How's that going to be useful? Because I wouldn't imagine going all the way from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean. It would take me, what, I don't know, 14 hours or something like that, 10 hours. If I'm going to have the fast train, I could reduce it to 3 hours. So I can actually go and come back on the same day.
That's why we also need to think beyond the borders of Egypt. We need to think about connectivity to the developments that are being done across the Red Sea in Saudi Arabia. There is a huge project, the Red Sea project, and the Line City that is just across the sea from Sharm el-Sheikh. These are very good potentials of investment and development. Also, we need to look to the west in Libya after the things settled there. This is an excellent opportunity for joint venture projects, for cooperation. Also the south, and we should not forget that we are part of the Mediterranean, not only part of the Africa and the Arab world. And this is extremely important potential for us to have joint projects and development. So I think what we are doing is not only for the local
yes, on an international level. And that also again brings to my mind the fact of renovating and upgrading the ports, which is also a very important sort of project and attention being held upon, shed light on by the government and the leadership to go up to the international standards to be able to increase the exports and the imports. And especially as Egypt is aiming to be an energy hub. So again, let's talk more about these up to standard ports with also friendly environmental ports, and how is that very essential for the Egyptian economy?
Yeah, old ports are being upgraded, and new ports are being added to the network of ports in Egypt, and they are connecting the industries and the trading with other countries. And these ports are not only along the sea, but also interior ports through airplanes, are also important to create all this network. And we are going to be an energy hub for electricity. We can transport, export electricity and gas, liquid
exploration,
gas, and so forth. So I think we have a vision. Finally, we have a vision that we didn't have before, and
determination to actually work upon this vision also is something we're seeing on common ground.
There is a larger vision of Egypt, not only internally but also as a world power, and we have to work with globalization, we like it or not. So we have to be part of the global network of...
And keep up with it, of course. Technology playing a very important role.
Yes. So we need to learn how to deal with all these changes, and also follow the international standards that are being more environmentally conscious, more sustainable, more humanly conscious. So we have to work with...
Now, speaking of keeping up with the standards and globalization, you're a professor at a university, and let's talk more about the role of the youth and how you prepare these students and train them to be able to fit the market of this new developed Egypt. Again, that is another change of strategy and mentality that's been upgraded in this level, on this educational system for a couple of years. How do you see it working today?
We try very much to provide the students with the most advanced skills that are required for the work market, but at the same time we also try to make them more conscious than before about the impact on the environment, and how to protect the environment, and how to create buildings and facilities that do not harm the environment around it. And the most important thing in our field is how to consider human beings of all kinds, of all ages, of different genders, of different disabilities. So we have to create inclusive environments for everyone. And our university has all the facilities of computer facilities, software. So we go parallel with the advanced computer skills and at the same time the traditional skills of working. So we try to balance these, not only create computer operators, but also we need to keep the balance between the...
And it's working, seems to be working well so far.
It is very difficult.
Very difficult. We're going to talk about the
best.
cultural perspective, the cultural resistance to change. This is also very important to discuss. But allow us to go to the second report. Now, the age of relocation to these new cities of Egypt is also very important to take a close look at. Let's check out this report.